Why don't you try setting goals for yourself?
Welcome to Culture Screen, where we analyze culture. In this episode, we're summarizing the 19th episode from Season 6 of the Sopranos series titled The Second Coming. The episode first aired on May 19th, 2007. In the beginning, we see a pile of Tony's asbestos garbage piled up in a neighborhood by a lake. This is a symbolic representation of Tony. After this, we see Tony wakes up at his home and he gives Carmela an expensive watch as a way of clearing his guilty conscience for traveling to Las Vegas alone. As Carmela asks Tony about Kelly, Christopher's widowed wife, Tony looks down and continues to drink his coffee. In one scene, we see Carmela and Tony are eating dinner with Kelly, Christopher's widow. As they are eating, AJ walks into the kitchen and starts to criticize them for eating meat. AJ then accuses Tony and Carmela of being clueless about the cruelty animals face. AJ has clearly been taking some courses in college that have taught him about many of the cruelties in the world. When Tony brings up the fact that the FDA checks the food they eat, AJ cuts him off and says the FDA cannot be trusted. Tony commands AJ to shut up, and as AJ walks away, Tony shares that AJ was never a good student and never cracked a book, but all of a sudden, he thinks he is the world's foremost authority. This is a crucial scene for our understanding of AJ's character. AJ has, of course, been spoiled beyond belief. Since AJ was never a good student academically and has never actually had a focus to guide him throughout his life, he is now susceptible to being brainwashed by anything. After taking an English class at his local community college, AJ begins to ask himself what the meaning of life is again. Something very dangerous for a young man to ask himself if he has no religious or philosophical foundation at home from his parents to begin with. Later on, the FBI agents head over to Satrialis and they show Tony pictures of Ahmed and Muhammad, the two men Tony is suspected of funding illegal activity. Agent Harris tells Tony he does not think they are in the United States anymore. He thanks Tony for helping them out regardless. Tony then meets up with Phil Leotardo to discuss his asbestos dumping issue. Tony offers to pay Phil 15%, but Phil refuses to negotiate with Tony. Phil repeats that he will only allow Tony to dump his asbestos if he gives him 25% of his earnings. Tony asks him to forget about their tumultuous past and stick to conducting business as reasonable men. Phil refuses to listen to Tony's supplications and he refuses to negotiate as well. Tony ends up walking away from their sit-down upset. As a way of getting back at Phil, Tony takes it personally and he takes Coco and Butchie's no-show jobs from one of his joint construction ventures with Phil. As we catch up with AJ, we see he is in his room reading up on conspiracy theories and depressed because the world is not the way he would like it to be. Meadow tries to tell him that he should set personal goals for himself and move out of their parents' house. AJ says that he cannot because he is mentally ill and depressed. AJ also adds that he needs his mother's cooking in order to survive. When Meadow asks him how school is going, he shares with Meadow that he dropped out of school as well. AJ ends by asking Meadow if she ever feels like there is no purpose in life. We see AJ continues to be the same spoiled, entitled boy with a dirty bedroom. Later on, AJ ends up trying to take his life. After also failing at that, he starts screaming for help. Luckily, Tony walks into the house as this is going on. Tony hears AJ and he runs out to the pool to help AJ out of the pool, showing the viewer just how lucky and privileged AJ is yet again.
Maybe you should move out.
All right, in my condition.
Remember, I am summarizing this entire series, as well as other popular works of literature, movies, and TV shows as well. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next episode or series. Let me know what you'd like me to summarize in the comments section below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content, visit our merch store, and support us on Patreon if you can. Doing this helps my channel out tremendously. I thank you for your support.
I need Mom's cooking. It could mess with my blood chemistry.
In another scene, Meadow is with her date, Patrick Parisi, when Coco, one of the New York crew members, walks up to Meadow and disrespects her. Coco tells Meadow that she has a little whipped cream by her lip and that he would like to add to it. Meadow then tells Carmela, and as Tony walks into the kitchen, he demands to know what they are talking about. Meadow shares what Coco said to her, and she adds that she also is dating Patrick Parisi's son, Patrick. Tony and Carmela are left in shock. Tony runs off to confront Coco for disrespecting his daughter. Tony heads to New York City and ends up almost beating Coco to death. In the process of attacking Coco, Tony also draws down on Butchie. This act of vengeance on Tony's part is the act that leads to the Lupertazzi di Mayo War. Tony went beyond the scope of his power by attacking and threatening the lives of Phil's men. As we catch back up with AJ, he is in family therapy, and while speaking to his therapist, he shares that when he was younger, Livia, his grandmother, once shared with him that there was no purpose to life at all, and that in the end, your friends and family let you down and you die in your own arms. This may in fact have been the crucial point that pushed AJ into the spiral of depression that he is in now. Livia was herself emotionally destroyed by the treatment she received, having given her life to a man that never loved or respected her. Livia passed on this pain and suffering to her children and her grandchild, AJ, as well. For AJ, feeling that there is no true purpose in life, coupled with never having developed a strong work ethic, has destroyed AJ's chances at having a fulfilling life. AJ is also a victim of an education system that only promotes existentialism and nihilism, while also having oblivious parents. In another scene, Dr. Melfi goes to see her therapist, Dr. Kupferberg. Kupferberg shares a study he recently uncovered, written by Samuel Yockelson and Stanton Samenow, that proves sociopaths benefit from talk therapy because it helps them practice their con games and manipulation tactics on their therapists. Kupferberg further adds that talk therapy only makes sociopaths into better criminals in the end. As we catch back up with Tony, Little Carmine stops by to tell Tony that he almost took out Coco. Little Carmine shares that Phil is going to pull out on all their joint business ventures because of what Tony did. The viewer sees firsthand how Tony's hot-headed nature led him to act before thinking. Tony assaulting Coco will affect both Little Carmine and the entire DeMeo crew. Little Carmine recommends that they need to go and bend the knee to Phil in order to fix things up between them and allow their businesses to continue. When Tony heads to his next meeting with Dr. Melfi, he shares that he did peyote and now he knows that there is something else beyond this life. Dr. Melfi does not seem impressed, nor does she believe that Tony has actually reached a deeper level of awareness as he claims. Dr. Melfi seems to believe what her therapist, Dr. Kupferberg, shared with her previously, that sociopaths simply become better at their trade by practicing their deceptive tactics on their therapists. Melfi knows Tony has not reached a turning point. She is starting to see how she has also been strung along by Tony's manipulation. This scene depicts how Tony's trance over Dr. Melfi is beginning to fade. When Little Carmine meets up with Tony, he brokers a sit-down between them and Phil. When they arrive at Phil's house, Phil refuses to meet with them. As they walk away from Phil's home, Phil yells at them to get away from his house. We see the Lupertazzi DeMeo War has officially begun, as Phil refuses to meet with Tony again. This shows Tony has finally lost control of the direction and finances of his crime family. In the closing scene, Tony goes to visit AJ at the mental hospital where AJ is being held. We see Tony's family life is now beyond repair.
There's nothing left to discuss, Carmine.
That was episode number 84, titled The Second Coming. To watch the next or previous episode summary, click on the link in the description or at the end of this video. In the description, you will also find additional links for supporting our channel. See you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Do you have a problem?
Not yet.
We upload new videos every week, so subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Click the notification bell to be notified of when we upload these videos. See you on the next episode of Culture Screen.